Have you ever wondered what really goes on in those small roadside restaurants you walk into, the ones where the food is cheap, the smiles are warm, and the smell draws you in like magic? Let me tell you a story. A story of a village, a secret, and a woman whose cooking could make even the angriest man forget his worries. But at a price. A price no one ever imagined. This is not just a story about food. This is a story about trust, desperation, and the hidden things people do just to survive. Welcome to Tales by Lima. Please like, share and subscribe. We'll make you think twice before eating anywhere ever again. In the small village of Irmide, there was a woman named Mama Kofo. Everyone knew her. Everyone loved her food. Her small blue house sat by the roadside, paint peeling slightly, yet it always felt warm, comforting. Smoke rose from her backyard kitchen every morning before the sun fully woke. People used to say, "If you eat Mama Kofo's food once, you will always come back." And truly, people always came back. Travelers, traders, drivers on long journeys. Even well-dressed men from the city who claimed they didn't eat in local places found themselves seated on her old plastic chairs, sweating happily as they devoured her jollof rice, beans, and peppered goat meat. But something was strange about Mama Kofo. She always cooked alone. Never allowed anyone near her pot. And every time she cooked, she would scratch under her arm, slowly, deliberately. As though she was mixing something into the food that wasn't seen. People noticed. But no one questioned. Because the food was too good. One hot afternoon, a young girl named Aisha arrived in the village. She was 19, quiet, and looking for any work she could find. Her mother had recently died. Her father had abandoned them years ago. She came with only a small bag, a faded wrapper, and hope squeezed tightly in her chest. She asked around for jobs, but nobody had work to give. Until someone pointed at Mama Kofo's house. "That woman is always busy. Maybe she needs help." Aisha approached the blue house, heart beating fast. She found Mama Kofo stirring a huge pot of yellow gari, her face calm, glowing with sweat. Aisha greeted respectfully and explained her situation. Mama Kofo listened quietly. Then smiled. A slow smile. One that didn't quite reach her eyes. "Come tomorrow," she said. "You will help me. But you must listen and obey every instruction." And just like that, Aisha had found a job. But she did not understand yet why no one worked with Mama Kofo before. On her first day, Aisha woke before dawn and arrived early. Mama Kofo was already outside. Already sweating. Already stirring. Aisha tried to help, but Mama Kofo raised her hand sharply. "No. Not yet." She pointed instead toward the backyard tap. "Wash your hands. And then watch me. Only watch." So Aisha watched. She watched Mama Kofo chop vegetables with careful precision. She watched her mix pepper and palm oil with slow, rhythmic movements. She watched her taste the soup with her fingers. And then she watched something else. Mama Kofo paused, lifted her left arm, and scratched. Right there. Inside her armpit. Then she rubbed that same hand into the stew. Slowly. Gently. Like adding a secret spice. Aisha's eyes widened in horror. She tried to speak. But Mama Kofo turned to her with a stare so sharp it sliced through the air. "Do not question what you do not understand." Her voice was calm. Too calm. Aisha swallowed her words. Because suddenly, the first customers were already arriving. Smiling. Laughing. Calling Mama Kofo's name. And as they ate, their eyes softened. Their voices slowed. Their anger, worry, fear, faded. They looked like people who forgot their problems entirely. Aisha stood there, confused. What kind of food makes people forget themselves? What exactly was Mama Kofo cooking? The lantern in Aisha's hand trembled. The flame flickered, making Mama Kofo's face dance in and out of the darkness. Mama," Aisha stammered. Her throat was dry. Her voice cracked like broken glass. Mama Kofo stepped forward slowly. Her bare feet made no sound on the dusty floor. "What are you doing in my kitchen at this hour?" Her tone was soft, but heavy, the kind of softness that warns rather than comforts. Aisha held the lantern tighter. I heard a noise. I thought maybe rats entered the pot." Mama Kofo smiled faintly. "You think I cook with rats?" The words were quiet, yet sharp enough to cut through air. Then she reached forward, not fast, not slow, and gently pushed down the lantern. "Go and sleep," she said. "You will need strength for tomorrow." Aisha nodded quickly and backed away. But as she turned, something caught her eye, a small wooden calabash sitting beside the pot. Inside it were hair strands, cowries, and something that looked disturbingly like dried human skin. She gasped. When she looked back up, Mama Kofo's eyes were on her. "Good night, child," Mama Kofo said softly. Aisha ran out of the kitchen, heart pounding like thunder. The next day, Aisha could barely focus. Her hands shook while washing dishes, her mind replaying the image of that calabash again and again. When customers came, she forced a smile, but her eyes darted to Mama Kofo constantly. At lunchtime, an old man sat near her and whispered, "Do you know why her food tastes so sweet?" Aisha looked up in fear. "Why?" The man smiled faintly. His teeth were brown and worn. "Because she doesn't just cook food, she cooks people's spirits." Before Aisha could ask more, the man finished his meal, sighed happily, and left, leaving behind a single cowrie shell on the table. Aisha picked it up slowly. It was warm. Too warm. That night, she couldn't help herself. Her curiosity had grown into obsession. If she didn't find the truth, she knew she'd lose her mind. So she waited. Until the last customer left. Until Mama Kofo went to bathe. Until the blue house became silent. Then she crept to the back of the house. There, behind the kitchen, was a wooden door she had never noticed before, small, covered in soot, with strange chalk markings drawn all over it. She hesitated. Her heart told her no. But her feet, driven by something else, moved forward. The door creaked open. Inside, the air was thick and heavy, smelling of old oil and something metallic. A single candle burned on a stool. And in the middle of the room hung dozens of aprons, stained, dark, and hard from old spills. On the wall were names written in charcoal, dozens of them. She moved closer. Her fingers traced the list. Adiwale. Ijeoma. Musa. Chinidu. Funk. She froze. At the very bottom, freshly written, was her own name. Aisha. Her hand flew to her mouth to stop the scream. Suddenly, the candle flickered. And a voice came from behind her. "You shouldn't have come here." Aisha turned. Mama Kofo stood at the doorway, wrapped in a white cloth, her eyes glowing faintly from the reflection of the flame. "You've seen it," she said quietly. "So now you must understand." "Understand what?" Aisha cried, tears spilling. "Why my name is there. Why you put your hand in food after scratching yourself. What are you doing, Mama?" Mama Kofo sighed, long and deep, like someone carrying the weight of generations. "You think food only fills the stomach," she said. "No, my daughter. Food is spirit. Food connects life and death. Aisha shook her head, backing away. That's witchcraft. Mama Kofo stepped closer. Call it what you want. But every person who eats from me, leaves their pain behind. Their sorrow. Their hunger. I take it, I carry it in my body, so they can live a little lighter. She raised her arms slowly. Underneath, Aisha could see faint marks, scars, dark and twisted, glowing faintly in the candlelight. They leave their suffering in me, Mama Kofo continued, and that is the taste you call sweet. Aisha's tears streamed freely. That's not healing, Mama. That's evil. Mama Kofo's voice grew sharper. You think I enjoy this? You think I asked for it? She turned, her face filled with pain. When I was young, I watched my mother die from hunger. She begged me to promise that no one who came to my house would ever feel that pain again. So I went to the old river priestess. I begged for power to feed everyone. And she gave it. But she warned me, every meal will take something from you too. Mama Kofo's breath shook. I have carried hundreds of people's grief inside me. That is why I cook alone. That is why no one stays long. Aisha stared, horrified yet pitying. But, why me? Why write my name? Mama Kofo looked at her sadly. Because you saw. And once you see, the spirit will mark you too. Aisha screamed and ran. Out of the room. Through the kitchen. Past the fire, the pots, the smell of stew. Mama Kofo's voice echoed behind her. You can run, but you will never forget the taste. The night swallowed her. She ran through the dusty road barefoot, panting, crying, her tears mixing with sweat. Dogs barked. Owls hooted. The wind whispered her name. She didn't stop until she reached the edge of the village, where the path met the forest. There she collapsed, gasping for air. But as she lay there, she felt something warm on her arm. She looked, and saw faint red marks forming. Like scratches. Exactly where Mama Kofo's scars had been. Months passed. Aisha left Irmide village, swearing never to return. She moved to another town, started selling bread on the roadside, living quietly. But strange things began to happen. People who ate her bread came back, saying they felt lighter. Happier. More peaceful. And soon, her stall was always full. One morning, she cut herself slightly while slicing bread, and saw something dark seep out instead of blood. Her reflection in the window showed eyes that glowed faintly for just a moment. She dropped the knife. Back in Irmide, people whispered. They said Mama Kofo's shop closed mysteriously one night, fire everywhere, yet no body found. Some say they still smell her cooking when the wind blows from the hills. Others claim to see her shadow stirring a pot at dawn. But travelers still talk about a woman, young, calm, and beautiful, who sells food by the roadside in another town. Her name is Aisha, but some call her Mama Kofo Reborn. The night was quiet. The wind carried the smell of roasted corn and dust, sweeping gently through the marketplace. Aisha sat behind her small food stall, the same way Mama Kofo once did, quietly, patiently, watching people eat. Children laughed. Men smiled. Women hummed as they ate. And every time someone finished their meal, they would sigh softly, like a burden had just lifted off their soul. Aisha's face was calm, beautiful, but her eyes told a different story. They were deep, tired, holding something ancient. Something she could never explain. A little boy ran up to her stall and smiled. Your food is sweet, Auntie, he said cheerfully. Aisha smiled back, but as she bent to serve him, a faint light shimmered under her arm, a mark, glowing softly beneath her skin. She froze for a moment. Then continued serving, her voice calm. Eat well, my child, and may you never go hungry. The boy ran off, happy. Aisha watched him disappear into the crowd. The wind picked up again, carrying whispers that sounded almost like laughter. Almost like Mama Kofo's voice. Aisha looked to the horizon, where the sun dipped low, and whispered. I didn't choose this, but maybe, this was always meant to be. The camera slowly pulls back, showing her small stall glowing warmly in the fading light. The world continues moving, unaware that another Mama Kofo has risen. Quietly feeding the world, one soul at a time. Moral of the story. Not every gift is a blessing. Sometimes, what looks like kindness is a curse wearing a gentle smile. And in a world hungry for quick comfort, not all satisfaction comes clean. Learn to question what you consume, not just with your mouth, but with your spirit. Because in every meal, in every deal, in every promise, someone always pays the price. And that is the story of Mama Kofo and Aisha, a tale that reminds us that the line between good and evil can sometimes be found in the simplest of things, even a plate of food. If you enjoyed this story, remember, every tale we tell carries a piece of our world, our mystery, and our truth. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories that keep your heart racing and your mind wondering. This is African Tales by Lima. Don't forget to subscribe. Where every story has a heartbeat. And every heartbeat has a secret.